Welcome to Advent of Tessellations 2025. My name is Madonna Yoder, and you're joining hundreds of folders around the world on this 25-day journey into the infinite world of repeating patterns folded from a single sheet of paper. You'll discover many different twists in this challenge, building up to advanced patterns with flagstone motifs of trapezoid twists. Welcome to day 6 of Advent of Tess. We're going to be folding this pattern with hexagon and triangle twists named Roundabout. And I'm using a 24 division triangle grid on a hexagon, which you can learn how to fold in the welcome video to the series. You can also see the crease pattern for the particular pattern we're folding today if you're signed up at training.gatheringfolds.com/advent. And you can see the crease patterns for each of the days in there. So the first thing to do here is to find the center of the paper. What I'm going to do with my folding here is reference our first hexagon actually from the corners, but in general you want to reference your twists to the other pleats of the twist. So locally around the twist, it just so happens that starting with hexagon paper and folding a hexagon twist, we can do all of the references from the corners. So I'll start by putting in a mountain fold, one grid spacing above the corner. And I'm going to immediately follow that mountain fold with a valley fold, one space above the mountain. I'm letting this fold come in, but I'm not letting it pass the center. I'll pass that pleat to my left hand and repeat with the next corner, bringing up a mountain fold with the fold hitting one space above the corner on the right hand side and the valley of the fold laying one space above that. You'll notice when you come in here, there's a couple different ways that this can lay. You can have lots of spaces lifted up in between or fewer. Just one space lifted up is what we're aiming for. Rotating around, we can repeat again. Mountain fold hitting the edge one space above the corner, valley fold one space above that, and rotating again. I'm going to repeat once more. So I mentioned the bit about how the space in between the pleats is looking, because that's what's going to define our puffy hexagon star. So this is probably my favorite twist. One of the things I'm doing right now, you'll notice I didn't just put in the 5th pleat and then the 6th. I made sure that the center can stay up above the desk while the rest of the paper is down on the desk by getting rid of, like, let's say that had a tuck in there. I want to run that tension all the way out to the edge and find all 6 of those pleats. I'm using the table to help my pleats stay in place. So if you pick your paper up, those pleats will tend to unravel and then you'll have more trouble finding all of your pleats and getting them all set up at the same time. The good news with the open hexagon twist is that it's a lot easier to squash than the closed hexagon we did yesterday. For the open hexagon, you take your hand and you smack it. So it just smacks down from the top. Lovely open hexagon twist there. Then just like we did yesterday, and again, I'll caveat that this is not the way that tessellations are usually folded, and this will not continue working if you have more grid, but we're going to fold all 6 of the next triangles, or all 6 of the triangles on the pleats connecting to this hexagon, and then we'll flip the paper over and fold all 6 of the hexagon twists before flipping back and folding all 6 of the new triangles. We are going to, for this pattern, have closed triangle twists at tube pleat spacing on the same side as this hexagon. So I'll start with the tube pleat spacing, which we saw yesterday also. We have our mountain fold that's already folded, one space out. From that, we'll have a parallel valley fold. One space out from that, we have another mountain fold. And so in setting those up, we want our third pleat for the triangle to come precisely to the intersection of, the third mountain fold for the 3 triangle pleats to come exactly to the intersection of the existing 2 mountain folds. And then we can let all the pleats lay down and press to squash. Now we're going to repeat going around. So I'll rotate the pair of pleats. Technically speaking, this is also a pair of pleats, but these mountain folds are close together. So the tube pleat facing out to my right, and I'll repeat those steps exactly. So I have a valley fold, one space out from the folded mountain, a mountain fold one space further than that. I'm opening just the bottom pleat of these 2 pleats that are running together, and I'm putting my third direction with the mountain fold, my third direction of pleat with the mountain fold coming straight to the grid intersection where the other 2 meet. This causes a pleat overlap with the top pleat of the former tube. And press to squash. Now I'll rotate and repeat, this time without marking. I'm finding my valley fold one space out from the folded mountain. My mountain fold follows one space further. Then, holding the top pleat in place, I'll lift up, erasing the extension of the bottom pleat, and finding my third direction of pleat for the triangle with the mountain coming to the same grid intersection as those other 2 mountain folds. With the valley of that pleat also in place, I can press to squash. Now I'll repeat again a little bit faster, putting in the second pleat, erasing the first pleat as it goes past where I'm folding the twist, putting in the third pleat, which causes a pleat overlap, and press to squash. Once again, I'll put in my second pleat at tube pleat spacing. I'll keep the upper plate of the former tube fully folded to allow me to cross it with my third plate, forming a closed triangle twist, and press to squash. Rotating. This time, when I fold my new pleat coming down, it hits another pleat. And what we're going to do this time that we didn't do in yesterday's video is reorder the pleat overlap. So first, I'm going to go ahead and set up my triangle twist. And I can even go ahead and squash the triangle. We have plenty of space to work with down here. Next, I want to rearrange these folds so that they match all of our other overlaps. I want the pleat from the upper triangle to go through first. So if I open this up, I'm going to have the pleat from this latest triangle continue as mountains and valleys on the same grid line all the way to the edge and close that firmly. And then the pleat from the lower triangle, in this case the first triangle that we put in, is allowed to fold over. So now all 6 of my pleat overlaps are precisely the same, and I don't have to pay attention to how I'm flipping the paper over, because no matter what orientation it is exactly identical. So I'm going to pick one, and we are going to put a closed hexagon. Excuse me. So I'm going to pick a pleat overlap, and we're going to put a closed hexagon twist there. I'm going to open the pleat overlap. You'll notice that this is an easy overlap to open. So back how it was, I open up and I can see those mountain folds and exactly where they're going, straight to this point that I've put in the center of this little hexagon. And excuse me, and I'm going to go ahead and fold all the pleats of my hexagon twist. You'll notice that I narrowly avoid a pleat overlap down below, and I have just one grid spacing of pleat overlap up above. I'm getting pretty close to the edge of the paper, so I can't really emphasize the valley folds on these two shorter pleats, but I can get them mostly in place. One of the benefits of being close to the edge of the paper is that the paper doesn't have quite so many constraints, so rotating that hexagon twist can move slower and still work well. Again, this rotating and laying down the closed hexagon tends to work better with stiffer paper. I'm using Skytone, which you can find at gatheringfolds.com, including Skytone that's already been cut into hexagons. And next up, it's time to decide, okay, do we want to go this way or that way? Do we want to go clockwise or counterclockwise to fold our hexagons? I'm going to go counterclockwise for the folding order of my closed hexagons, opening up this little pleat overlap here, and then popping up the next hexagon. Remember, these two mountain folds intersect at the center of the closed hexagon, and the reason why I chose that direction is because this is sending a pleat under an existing pleat from a hexagon, so those both must be going to triangles, and I can put in a triangle wrap. So this is a move that was introduced on day 4 and explored again on day 5. I'm going to show the visuals on this, but you can look at those previous videos for drawings. I'm holding this pleat firmly up until the point where these two mountain folds meet, and then I'm pushing down on the extension of this mountain fold, letting a new mountain fold split off at that intersection and tuck the flap underneath. So that is our triangle wrap, and I can go ahead and find the rest of my pleats for this closed hexagon twist. And once it's set up in tower form, I can bop it, grab it, twist it around. Oh, that's more what usually happens when I do a slow twist. But never fear, we can always massage it into place. And there it is. So if I was folding on a bigger grid, I'd want to go ahead and resolve that triangle wrap into a triangle twist right away. But for today's purposes, I want to minimize flipping the paper over, and so we'll go around and continue folding these closed hexagons until we get all 6 of them. Rotating around, I'll do the exact same steps again, and I'll just zoom in on that for you. And I'll lift up this point where these 2 mountain folds are converging at the center of our new closed hexagon twist. For that triangle wrap, I want to make sure that this pleat is still stably in place. And I have my mountain fold coming in. I'm holding just inside of where these 2 layers of paper meet. I'm going to push down on the extension of the mountain fold, which lets a new mountain show up in here and a valley down below. And that tucks under. And then I can find my remaining pleats using the table to help things stay stable. With this in place, I can tap the top of the hexagon, grab it, give it a sharp twist around, and smooth things out as needed. Next up, I'll move to the next hexagon. Taking an overlap from those triangle twist pleats, I will find the center of my new hexagon twist, running a mountain down below. I'll put in the triangle wrap. And if you need these steps slower, we have 2 previous iterations to look at. And put in my 3 remaining pleats. Even though for these short pleats, we're close enough to the edge of the paper that there's not much to put in, but we still want everything oriented the right way. And to squash the hexagon, I'm going to tap it and grab it, give it a sharp twist, which you can see even for someone who's folded thousands of these, they will still fight you. That's why the open hexagon is my favorite. You just go boop, and there it is. And next up, we've got another hexagon. And wrap the triangle wrap. You'll notice that I'm setting up the long pleats that we have more space for before I set up the short pleats of this hexagon twist. That's because the long pleats are going to stay more stable, and you're liable to erase whatever progress you've made on the short pleats if you do them first before those longer pleats. With that in place, I'll bop it, grab it, twist it, uncrumple it. Necessary step for these closed hexagons, and flatten. For our 6th, yes, we have gotten all the way around to number 6. For our 6th closed hexagon, we're going to open up that pleat overlap, put in the triangle wrap down below as usual, and now that pleat going to the top runs into a pleat from another hexagon. These 2 pleats are both going to the same triangle twist, and what we want to do is put in the triangle wrap between these 2 hexagons, but we already have the lower pleat, so we're approaching it from the top. You can see my valley fold needs to pass through here, and that valley fold actually needs to connect directly down. So let's draw on here. My valley fold has interrupted the mountain coming over this way and is going directly down and hitting the valley fold below, which is then splitting off and forming a 3-way intersection. The mountain fold coming from our latest hexagon is going to follow that valley and mimic it, 1 grid spacing, in this orientation, 1 grid spacing to the right. It's going to mimic all the parts of that 3-way intersection, although the mountain going down in is only going to go 1 grid spacing because it's hitting the 3-way intersection down below. With that in place, we can flatten those layers. And with all of these pleats in place, we can bop, grab, and like I mentioned before, the slower you go on these hexagons, the more they fight you. There is not a smooth, slow way to reliably fold these closed hexagon twists. So there's our hexagons for this pattern. Let's flip back to the open hexagon and triangle side, where we have all of these 3-way intersections, these triangle wraps from the other side. These are going to turn into more closed triangle twists, the same as the ones in the middle. And you'll notice these 2 closed triangles are the same distance from the closed hexagon on the back. That is something that you can exploit to form an entire pattern. You can say every other triangle around this closed hexagon is the same distance away. So you'll also see that these, so that's 3 spaces and that's 3 spaces. So we have far, near, alternating around this closed hexagon hole. And that's precisely the reference for continuing the pattern. You'll see 3 of the same thing, so 2 sets of 3 of the same thing around those closed hexagon twists. And that's the way of repeating roundabout, today's pattern, that is actually called roundabout. And so you can have 3 of the same, 3 near and 3 far, around each of these closed holes. Each of the triangles is going to be near to one closed hexagon, far from another, and bordering an open hexagon on the 3rd plate. And each of the pleats from the open hexagon goes to a closed triangle at tube pleat spacing. Those are all the rules you need to create this repeating pattern. And actually, you can use exactly the same rules, but have the closed hexagons on the front, same side as all the other twists, and still get an infinitely repeating pattern. This is called star weave. There's a tutorial for it on my YouTube channel. And there's also more ways to repeat the same center of open hexagon, closed triangles, and then closed hexagons on the back. This one is named Tuatara, and you can find the crease pattern for all 3 of these ways of repeating roundabout in the Advent of Tess 2025 ebook at gatheringfolds.com, origami-shop.com, or origamiusa.org. And those links are all going to be down in the description. So this is roundabout. It's a very quick pattern, especially compared to the triangle twist patterns, because there are fewer twists. Yesterday and today we've had patterns that have 1 twist in the center and then 3 sets of 6, so 19 twists total. Tomorrow we are going to have a pattern with 1 twist in the center and 2 sets of twists around it. So we're going to have even fewer twists, but we're going to be introducing the closed rhombus twists, which can be a bit more challenging to set up. So we're going to be simplifying in terms of how many twists, while complexifying in terms of what twists are going to be folded, which then is going to build into more twists with lots of rhombus twists. So, little preview of the day after tomorrow. All right, happy folding everyone, and I hope to see you back tomorrow.